Hello everyone, welcome to Actors Unscripted. I'm your host Benito Curteanu and this is episode 12 of The Place to Be. Okay, we got the new setup and the lovely Tereza Duskova. She is a lovely actress, okay? She's well known for being in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu and also being in the Netflix series The Empress, as well as having an Amazon Prime series coming out this year and is preparing for a leading role in a feature film. So it's safe to say that Tereza is stacked and booked. Welcome, Tereza. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for that insane introduction. You just boosted my ego so much.
Yeah, come on. This is how it is. You know, we got to boost each other up. So
we do.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No, of course. I'm very happy that you were able to take the time. I knew you were very busy, and I'm so happy to finally have you on. So my first question to you, Tereza, would be, of course, on the topic of the times, so to speak. Nosferatu came out in December on the 25th on Christmas Day, and you were in the film. Tell me about that whole experience.
Yeah, I know. That's it's incredible to even be able to talk about it right now. It's a true dream come true. This whole project, and it was an amazing journey. Where should I start from the beginning?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I think everything
from,
everything about this film is probably never going to happen again, just because of the insane amount of detail and care and passion that this director had for this project. So I'm just super grateful to have been able to experience that. And yeah, like from the beginning, from the audition process, it was just very intense. You know, I appear in the film in this like small sequence. I have a couple of scenes. So it's not a particularly big role, but even then I had to go through a 3-stage audition process, a self-tape and 2 recalls. And even just that audition was like maybe the most challenging thing I've done as an actor so far. So that's the level of detail he was after. In terms of character development, you know, emotion, line delivery, just like you sort of immersing yourself fully in that world. And I'd say what I learned during that audition and why I got the role in the end was that I really had to like go for it fully. I remember when I got the self-tape instructions, it was like I'm playing a nun in the 19th century in this like church. And so I just like decided that, you know, it's all or nothing. And I like created this whole nun costume for myself, and like I had candles and incense sticks. Like I just was like, just fuck it, because how else are you gonna try and believe that you're in this setting?
Very true. And you did this in the self-tape, so you like made the whole outfit.
That's just the self-tape, yeah. Wow. And then even and then when I came for the in-person audition, I had a scarf, you know, as a like I had to create this whole nun costume for myself. I just needed to be able to believe that I'm in this circumstance, because that was what was required of me for this audition. Yeah,
I understand. That's interesting. It's because I always think about like how playful can you really get in those circumstances, because there's always these sort of set rules of like, okay, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. But it's interesting when you take that risk, or not even a risk. I mean, I guess it just helps to get into character, right? I mean,
100%. I mean, it could be a risk maybe in some, you know, circumstances. You're sort of, like how far do you go in an audition, you know? And I've always been told like, yeah, go for it, but at the same time, like, you know, less is more, and like there's a lot of different perspectives. I think you just need to do whatever is going to help you believe that you are that person.
Exactly. And
That's really what it's
it's an
about.
approach. It's the approach
Yeah.
towards it. So, in terms, I want to delve in a little bit deeper into. You were saying how it was there was a lot of detail. Robert
Hmm.
required a lot of detail in the characters. What what would you say for you was the hardest part getting into this character of yours in Nosferatu?
Um, I think it was finding the right balance
Mm.
between being, first of all, already like being this kind of character, it's like trying to like um, find the sort of mannerisms and like
Hmm.
the sort of energy that a person living in a small village
Yeah.
in a church in 19th century Transylvania
Mm.
would be encountering somebody who just saw a vampire, and these people 100% believed
Yeah.
that vampires exist. Like, even just that, like, what does it feel like to be living in a world where
That's true.
vampires are real and really scary? So that's one level, but then also it was finding the right balance between fear, um, and excitement, and curiosity, and I don't know, like there was a lot mixed
Yeah.
into what was happening in that situation. And on top of that, I think what made that particular scene so difficult was that I was translating from Romanian to English. I don't speak Romanian.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay.
Um, I had to sort of figure out where am I supposed to come in at each point.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and there was like 200 candles, and they kept like having to relit all these
Oh my
candles, so it
God.
was like the flow was sort of breaking all the time, and then
Hmm.
the camera movement was quite complicated. It was all in one take, and
Mm.
so I think like the focus was quite tricky as well, and so it was a lot happening in the scene, and I think
Yeah.
it was just really beautiful to see this whole process come alive and see everyone sort of like come together in creating this. I have to say, okay, guess how many takes do you think we did of this scene?
Okay. I'm gonna say 20 plus.
Yeah, spot
Yeah.
on. I
Yeah.
think it was something like 27
Yeah.
takes, and by the end of it, I was like, it felt like an out of body experience,
Gone.
honestly.
Yeah.
Gone, yeah, completely. But it was like the most rewarding thing.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. But that's the thing. A lot
Yeah.
of the time, I think as actors, we usually when takes start to pile up a bit, we can usually start thinking, oh, is it something I'm doing, or is it something
Hmm.
that is it something? No, no. Usually, it's like you said, it's the focus wasn't correct, or we have to relight the candles again. There's something in the shot that doesn't look right. It's all these things that stack up on each other,
Yeah,
and I
there's
think
so much
that's
that has to come together. Hmm.
yeah, and that's what ends up being the main catalyst for loads of takes to start happening.
Right.
But that's amazing. That is that is just so incredible. And I'm curious because you mentioned the Romanian aspect. I'm half Romanian myself, and it's it's curious to say that you had to translate. And I saw as well. You know, like what, 3 languages?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I speak Czech, English. I understand a lot of Slavic languages
Yeah,
vaguely, but I don't speak them. But yeah.
that's amazing. I mean, that's so cool. How was that? Must have been very very tricky to sort of go around, especially
Mm.
for the Romania. I mean, yes, it is also like a Balkan, a Slavic country, and it has those sort of roots, but it's definitely an experience to go into. So how is it tackling the language in that regard?
Yeah, tricky, but I think, it wasn't such a long scene that I couldn't just like translate
Mm,
for myself what was
sure,
happening and
sure.
then figure it out. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
And
It's just a curious thing. Now, as well as the Empress, isn't the Empress in German?
yeah,
The whole
yeah, I
thing is in
speak German
German.
as well. Yeah.
There you go.
But
Multilingual.
yeah, but in it's funny because whenever I do a German thing, I've done a few different series, but they usually dub me
Oh,
because my German is just not.
Oh wow,
Good
okay.
enough.
Well, thanks guys.
Yeah, and it's so funny to hear yourself dubbed in somebody else's voice. That
Wow, yeah.
happens to me in the Czech Republic as well. When I do like an English speaking role and then it's dubbed into Czech, they usually get
Interesting.
someone else to do it.
Yeah.
And so then I hear myself speaking Czech, but it's not me; it's somebody else. It's
It's
quite
just
funny.
somebody else.
Yeah, somebody else's
Wow.
voice. So yeah, that's hilarious.
I must say, yeah, it's a privilege to have you on. I mean, the fact that you you were able to experience that and be a part of essentially pop culture, if you will.
Oh, thank
Nosferatu
you.
is
But
Nosferatu. Yeah,
you
it's
know, and
great.
you can tell me a little bit about this as well. I think there is a being sort of a European actor
Mm,
living in the UK, and for like British actors trying to work in Europe, it's quite tricky. I wonder, like, what you're half Romanian,
yeah,
you said.
yeah,
How do you find this experience?
yeah. I mean, for me, it's I the thing is, I was born here, so I was born
Right.
in England. So for me, it's a part of it is a part of my culture and it's a part of who I am, and it's something that I am trying to embrace
Hmm.
most of the time because it is also where I'm from. I mean, it is a part of my DNA, right? So it's a part of who I am, and a lot of the time, it's I mean, right now I see it as a benefit, in my
Hmm.
opinion. I think um, from the auditions that I've received and from the work that has come through to me, it's allowed me to blend into multiple different people that I wouldn't think I could possibly imagine. You
Hmm.
know, I've been given opportunities where it's like, wow, that's interesting. I never thought I could even approach that sort of character. So it to me, for what we do and the craft that we pursue, to me, I see it as a lovely positive, as a lovely benefit that boosts who I am and
Hmm.
boosts who I'm as an individual.
Do you speak Romanian?
Yeah, so I do speak Romanian. I'm able to have conversations with my family. My
Nice.
grandparents live with us,
Very
so
nice.
it's they're in there. So it's a part of them that allows me to stay involved in that world. Because apart from that, it would probably slowly slip
Hmm.
away, which is something I don't want to happen.
Right.
I think eventually I would love to like just go to Romania for a month and
Hmm.
just stay there, just to really involve myself in the whole environment. And funnily enough,
Yeah.
I thought this was a really great moment for European actors. Sebastian Stan got the Golden Globe, and I think that was really good. I mean, the guy
Very cool.
was
He's a
8 years
fantastic
old. Yeah,
actor. Hmm.
he's absolutely amazing, and he was around 8 years old when he left, and now look what he's doing. You know, so
Yeah. No, it's
and he,
incredible.
yeah,
Maria, a big inspiration for me is Maria
hmm
Bakalova. She's an Eastern
yes,
European
okay,
actress,
yeah,
and I think she's fantastic. She's a wonderful actress, and it's just amazing to see people like that,
mm,
make it in the on the international stage. I think that's
yeah,
yeah. When you're growing up in a small country like the Czech Republic, that's
mm,
something that's like unachievable. It just
mm.
seems like it's so far away.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that's the interesting thing. I mean, in Romania, if you said, "Oh, I want to be an actor," they'd be like,
right.
"What are you talking about, dude? Just be like a doctor or an engineer or like do something like that's going to help." It's just it's the ideologies, right? It's how they operate in Romania anyway.
100%.
I don't know if it's the same in Czech, but
It's the same. And even if you want to, I mean, when I was finishing, high school and I said
yeah,
I wanted to be an actor, everybody was like, are you crazy? Like, what are
yeah,
you doing? You just like throwing your life away.
mm,
And even if you do become an actor, it's you pretty much just expected to like be acting in Czech. And
yeah,
actually, by coming here, it's quite funny. I feel
mm,
like I'm having a really hard time acting back home because I feel like people, it's almost like, okay, you've left, you've
mm,
trained at an English drama school.
yeah,
It's like, we don't know where you trained, you don't know people here. So I'm now trying to find a way to be able to work in both countries.
mm.
But I'm finding it quite difficult.
That's interesting. So it's the fact that even because you've now moved here and you've trained
Mhm.
here, it's almost I wouldn't. What's the word? I wouldn't say reduce, but it's sort of it's detracted you from that environment, so to speak.
100%. Yeah.
You're not so
And I
much
think
in there
people
anymore.
are, it's a small country,
Yeah,
and people are used to working with people they know very well. I mean, that's everywhere, and of course it
yeah,
makes sense. But I think people are a bit more closed off towards like newcomers or people they don't know or they haven't seen in the local drama
got you.
school or the local theater. So yeah,
Okay.
so it's tricky, but
Wow.
I'm working on it.
Okay. No, I think look, anything that you're going to approach, it's gonna sort itself out because I mean I can tell just from I mean this first time I've met you, Teresa, I can tell anything that you're going to put your mind to, it's gonna come to fruition because it's just how it is. I mean I can see what you're doing now, and it's like you're doing amazing. So keep pushing in that direction.
Thank you.
Of
It's
course.
I really appreciate this, and I think we need to encourage each other.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
completely agree. Whatever you set your mind to, you just gotta keep
Yeah.
working hard, and things will happen.
Exactly that. I think the important thing is to remember. I mean, look, this happened to me recently. I caught myself in comparison. I recently watched Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Have you ever seen that film?
An
Yeah, I watched
amazing
Minority
film. I
Report.
love that film.
It's a great film. Um, and it had me thinking, like, what the hell did this guy do at like 18, 19
Right.
to start out? And I'm starting looking at this and that. I'm like, oh, I need to find inspiration. I,
Mm,
I had to sit down with my mum. She sat me down and put me in my place, and she's basically like, "Stop looking over here. This guy's like 62 years old, and the industry
right.
was completely different back then. And you need to look at yourself. Where's the next step for you? It's. I think well, for me anyway, I get caught up in, um, I get caught up in what I should do 5 steps down the line, if
Mhm.
you know what I mean. Instead of looking right, what can I do today that's going to get me closer to the place I want to be. So that's what I'm trying to inhibit now. I'm trying to be like, right, let's look at where I am now. What's one step closer I can get to my aspirations, my wants and my needs? What's that one step that I can take? And I think that's a better approach.
Yeah, and you are doing it right now.
Yeah.
You're doing things that you enjoy. This is fantastic. You're having your own podcast. I think
Hmm.
that's brilliant. That's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to make your own work. You have to do things that you love.
Exactly.
You cannot just wait. And I completely agree. I think social media has played a huge role in this sort
Hmm.
of world of comparison. Every time you
Yeah.
go on Instagram, it's like you just see the sort of positive side of the
Hmm.
successful, positive side of people's lives. That's not always
No.
the real side.
No.
And it can really, it can, you know, it can be hard.
Yeah.
And you start comparing yourself to people who do better than you. And you just kind of have to distance yourself from all of that and focus on like, your own life and just,
Exactly.
do things that you enjoy. That's it.
That's exactly it. You focus on your own life and your own trajectory. You're not going to be wasting time looking at other people's lives. Because if you're
Right. And
focusing on the steps you're taking,
completely. Everybody's journey is different,
yeah,
and I think the industry has changed a lot.
yeah,
And I think it's amazing when you see people like I don't know Pedro Pascal,
mm,
who just like things don't happen how they used to happen in old Hollywood or
no,
just like 20, 30, 40 years ago.
like,
And I think people have different ways
yeah,
of just of making art or just like
yeah.
of finding their own way in the industry, and I think that's
It's
great.
like it's like those stories you hear when, like, let's take like Brad Pitt for example. Oh, he's
Right.
just walking down the street and someone saw him and like, hey man, I want you to be in my film. It's like
Or
that doesn't happen.
people used to go to
That
film
doesn't.
studios and just like wait at reception and like meet people and give them their CV and
Yeah,
just like
that's
sort of
crazy.
which is amazing. But
I mean,
I think everybody would be like,
yeah.
fuck off today.
I
That's not
think I
really
think
how
it's a bit
things are
different
done.
now. I mean, I think the good thing about like social media, like Instagram, for example, is that you can connect with other
Mm,
creatives and other people that
100%.
work in the industry a lot easier. So I think that's the benefit. I think that's a good thing, and that's something we should capitalize on.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's the thing. But we got it down. Keep focusing on your lane, and you'll get it done. Now, my next question is to do with the Empress. Actually, I tried to I tried to find you actually. I went on Netflix, like, right, I need to see like it's just so I can have some input. But for some reason I couldn't find you. That's probably my own fault there.
No,
But
honestly, I'm not in it that much. It's a small,
okay.
very small character. I'm
Hmm.
sort of playing the Hofdame in German, the like lady in waiting, sort of the
Okay.
court lady of
Got you.
the Duchess
Yeah.
Sophia, which is Sissy's mother,
Hmm.
and it's a tiny role, but in a way it was always meant to be a tiny role. What was quite
Yeah.
nice about it that when I got to set, we sort of kept adding little things that I can
Mm.
do, and I became a bigger part of uh, of her, of
Yeah.
her scenes and stuff. But yeah, that's just a very small role, and I said yes because I just thought um, it's just an incredible project, and the sets were so beautiful, and the costumes. You
Mm.
really
I saw it. Yeah.
feel you're really transported into a different time and age, and I think it's very special to get to experience that,
Mm.
and that's what
It,
I love about acting so much. I was trying to like figure out why I became an actor, and
mm. Oh,
I
okay.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
recently
Yeah.
I finally cracked it. I think I could never. I'm a Gemini, and I'm quite indecisive in my life,
Yeah.
and I think I couldn't like decide what to do because always wanted to do everything. It was like
Mm.
I want to be a writer, I want to be a journalist, I want to be a war photographer. Like I want to experience all these things in
Yeah.
life, and acting is actually what enables that, and it's
Yeah.
so amazing. So
No,
yeah, so
that's.
it was just amazing to be in these beautiful sets and dresses and just like get to glimpse what it was like.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. I mean, it's a very beautiful show. I mean, I watched around like 10-20 minutes of it,
Hmm.
and the sets. I mean, I was very impressed, to be honest. It has the Bridgerton vibe. I'll be honest.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
for sure,
it's like
for
the
sure.
European Bridgerton. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
like, but that's interesting. I think personally as well, and I spoke to my mum about this too. It's like we we were watching a lot of European stuff lately,
Mm.
whether it's in German or Italian or Spanish, and a lot of the time, you know, they're really good.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like the cinematography, the acting, the directing, the stories. I'm telling you right now, they got some sauce to them.
For sure. If you don't mind watching, getting through subtitles, which I
Yeah,
think it's a you can learn to watch with subtitles as well. It's
very
just a
very
habit.
easy, very easy.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a whole universe of just amazing stuff that you can
Mm,
watch. One thing that the British do really well are
yeah.
miniseries. I
Mm.
must say, I'm a huge fan. Like Slow Horses. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was that show? London Spy. Uh,
I think so. I think
Something like that. Uh,
something spy.
there are
I've
so
seen them.
many, The Bodyguard. Like there are
Oh,
so many great British miniseries that I just like love so much.
Bodyguard is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
It's very good. It's very good. So, I think for me the big takeaway that I want the audience to understand from this as well is that we, you know, the for me anyway, right? The mental game is the toughest one,
Mhm.
especially in this industry, and for me anyway. I think everything else I really enjoy. You know, when I'm learning my method, when I'm learning my character, when I'm trying to develop someone and experiencing that, that's where I find a lot of my joy, right? But I'd say the hardest thing is to not go absolutely mental half the time.
Yeah,
So,
well said.
Teresa, my question for you is, you know, when you're having, you know, difficult times, when you're sort of feeling like shit, um, what's your sort of go-to get yourself out of the headspace? Because I've realized now I'm every time I notice a negative thought coming through or seeds of doubt or stuff like that, I sort of think, right, okay, I need to ground myself, or I need to meditate and
Mhm.
breathe and any sort of thing to get me grounded again. What would you say is something that you would do to assist yourself in that?
Mhm. That's a wonderful question. And it's something I struggle with a lot.
Mm.
I've been doing this for 10 years,
Yeah.
including training. And it's up and down all the time.
Mm.
I never feel like, now I'm sorted. Like now it's just gonna flow easily. The
Yeah.
jobs are gonna be coming. It's just, and I'm not sure if that's ever gonna come. It's just the nature of this job.
Yeah.
It's project based. You never know when the next one is gonna come. And so I think what I've learned over the years and what I'm still trying to fully um, figure out is that you need to build your life not around your work. Work is a huge part of it,
Yeah.
but it's your relationship with the people around you who form your support structure and with other things that you love doing. So you really need to find your people who are going to be there for you, whether you're successful or not. They don't care. They love you for who you are. And it can be your partner, your friends, your family. Those, like, I think when I was younger, I was for sure a workaholic. And work was like number one for me without a question. And I would spend 12 hours a day just like, working on characters and just, like, it was insane. And, but it's not sustainable. And the older I get, the more I realize the more I just want to even focus on my friends and just focus on spending time with people.
Yeah.
And that makes you a fuller person, a more interesting person through other people, is how you learn more about yourself, how you become, the full expression of you, who you can be. And that makes you a better actor as well down the line, because you do need to know yourself very well if you want to be an actor. You need to be able to tap into things within you, as well as observe other people really well and be able to take things from them. And the other thing is really just finding other things to do. There's so much, in life that you can do and enjoy. Physical stuff is super important. I do yoga every day and I love it. And yoga and meditation is like, that really helps me to ground myself and be present and not worry about, what's going to happen tomorrow. Am I going to get that job? Why am I not getting more self tapes right now? Like all of that stuff.
Well,
And
No,
nature.
Thank you. I think right now for me anyway, I'm literally turning 20 in about 2 days. So
Oh my gosh, you're so young.
yeah,
You have your whole career
I
in
know,
front of
I
you.
know. When you said you were a workaholic when you were younger, I can't relate more. That's all I think
Yeah.
about, honestly.
You're probably
I just
at that
think
stage
about,
right now.
I just think about, okay, what's the next thing I can do? What's the next thing I
Yeah.
can do? How can I improve? How can I do this? How can I do that? How can I? And look, I agree with you. Ultimately, I agree with you. You should focus on your friends, which I do. Keep in contact. Do this stuff.
Mhm.
And no, yeah, just thank you. I think it's good to have that insight of what's like, what's better. I mean, I've had this conversation in
What
other
really matters in
episodes.
life. I
Yeah,
think that's what
yeah.
it's all about, What at the end, what really matters.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it's not so much the character you made when you were 20,
No,
19,
probably
20.
not.
It's more about like the people, the connections you make, of course, and the
Yeah.
impact. But yeah, it is that sort of stage where it's just like
But
fire. It's like you want it
there
all.
are stages in your life, and I think it's completely fine, and it should be like that you are focusing on your work right now and you're
Yeah.
giving it your 100%. Because if you didn't, you might regret that later, that you haven't given it your best.
Yeah.
So you got to do that as well. And then a stage will come in your life when you'll feel like, okay, I've worked so hard. I really need to just like enjoy right now.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm just like, I want to go away for a month to Cyprus and just like chill
Yeah.
and just swim
Exactly.
and eat a lot of seafood and like enjoy,
Exactly. That's very true.
So
It's balance, right? It's all about balance.
exactly. Yeah.
Balancing your life is like one of the trickiest things. But
Hmm.
if you can, you know, get wrestle with that balance a bit. So okay, let's see if I can just make sure that everything is. I mean, there's always. Oh, who said this? Someone said something. Someone, I can't remember. It was maybe it was an actor or something. But they always said that there's always going to be. That's it. Sorry, I clapped. I shouldn't clap with the mic. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Uh, it was Matthew McConaughey. He was making steaks and eggs with Gordon Ramsay, right?
Hmm.
And they were discussing family, acting, career, job, how they balance everything. And he mentioned that there's always going to be one thing that's going to be sort of above everything else. You know, where the work is
Hmm.
above family time and time with his wife and his kids and all that stuff. There's always going to be one that's a little bit above, but don't lose it. You know, don't let one
Hmm.
skyrocket. Just tone it down, find the balance, bring it back around. It's all like a tug of war, basically. I think.
Yeah, 100%. There's this book, I think it's called Three Marriages, and
Mm.
it's about how you just need to find a balance between your marriage to your work, your marriage to yourself, and your marriage to your partner and your family, your friends.
Nice.
And I think
Three
that's
marriages.
really important. Yeah.
Let me. I'm just gonna write that down because
For
sounds like
sure, do.
sounds like a good book.
And and this is like there's so much wisdom, and internet is great for that. Like honestly, there's so much wisdom, people who have gone through this already, and so it's also just
Mm.
about reading books and listening to people and just like
Yeah.
allowing them help you um, figure stuff out.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I made this is to help
Right.
expand the knowledge, right? Expand what other people already know before I know it,
Fantastic.
so then I can help myself and other people who are also watching. So
Yeah.
that's the point, right? So now, obviously, we're not going to go into too much detail with this next topic, but I did mention that you have there is an Amazon Prime series coming out this year, which I'm excited. Hey, I'm excited for it. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. But I would like to ask if you can, in a little bit of detail, about the leading role for an independent feature film,
Yeah,
just
for
in the
sure.
work that you are doing. So you're the lead, right? You're the lead. Okay. So this
Yeah, and
is
this project is special. It's not um okay. I have a friend, a
Mhm.
long-term friend. It's actually interesting. He studied filmmaking in London,
Yeah.
and the very first short film he made was like my very first short film that I
Mm.
acted in, and I was the lead in that. And so we sort of both super young, making things, and we became really good friends and stayed friends throughout the years. He's now
Yeah.
moved back to. He's from the U.S., so he's
Mhm.
moved back to New York. And we've been talking about what kind of projects we want to do because,
Mm.
like the Amazon Prime series you mentioned, it's a huge budget
Yeah.
production, and it's a fantasy series. It's an amazing world. You get to be in these sets that are just so beautiful, and
She's
it's
dropping
like
hints, guys.
you get to be in settings that maybe indie film wouldn't have the money
Yeah.
to even create. But at the same time, the process is very different. You
Yeah.
just come, you're just a little tiny part of this big universe. You do
Mhm.
your thing and you leave.
Yeah.
And I think what I've always craved as an actor to really just like um, be part of a project where I am like
Oh yeah.
fully, part of everything. And so
Mm.
me and my friend started having these conversations about what kind of stories we want to tell, what kind of characters I want to play, what he wants to do, and based on these conversations and a lot of conversations with his other friends and my friends and just like what's happening in the world right now, he wrote a feature film.
Wow.
He's a filmmaker. He makes fantastic short films and
Mm.
videos, and he's incredible. I can send you a link
Mm.
to his profile later on.
Yeah.
But his name is Giovanni Montalvo, and
Mhm.
yeah. So we're in the process of making this film right now, and it's
Nice.
honestly like the thing that I'm excited about the most out of everything that's happening right now.
Come on.
I
That's
feel
great.
so just grateful to be able to
Yeah.
work with somebody like that and to have this partnership. And it's very exciting.
Amazing. That's fantastic to hear. I mean, it's just little things like that, right? I mean, it's connections you make along the road, and eventually
Mhm.
things can spark up, and
Exactly.
it just rolls on from there. That's the importance of meeting good people. That's the important
Yeah.
part. Good
And
people can
really
create good things.
taking care of people around you, nurturing these relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That's amazing, Teresa. That's amazing to hear that these things are going along your way. I mean, this year's going to be a crazy year. I'll be honest. 2025
Yeah.
is a year of speed, of flow.
Yeah.
So get
Let's
ready.
go. I'm excited for 2025.
Get ready. I mean, it's going to be for everyone. This sort of speed, this nature, and I feel it now already. I can feel it just in the air. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just tastes different, but it has that energy of speed. Things will start going right. So I think it's also important to remember, guys, as well. Stay focused, stay grounded, because right now we're in a period where anything that you think or feel is amplified. So just take a moment, breathe, think about what it is you want to do, what you're going to do, and keep that chin up. So thank you, Tereza, for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolutely lovely time. I'm so happy you were the first official guest to be in the new setup, okay? I'll keep bragging about it.
I'm honored.
And,
Thank you for having me.
And it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you, guys. Remember, keep the chin up, eyes forward, boots down. Let's get it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the